Good morning, YouTube. Thrash Pondo here, and I'm bringing you another one of my infamous Wretched recaps. And today's, in case you haven't already deduced, is going to be the classic Gold Key comic from 1973, Dark Shadows. This was actually a gift from super duper grouper friend of channel, Danny Statton, and crikey, ain't she a beauty? But in any event, without any further, I'll do. And we open up with, oh look, an ad for firearms. The Daisy BB gun. And they say basically if you clean your room, your parents will get you a BB gun. Okay, great. We then go into the action. We see this young lady running to Collinwood with a problem, because of course you always take your problems to vampires. And we find out that her husband is missing, because naturally the first person you would want to employ in a search for a missing husband would be a vampire. And yet she explains, apparently she and her husband were friends of Barnabas, and he just happens to have this professor standing around when she gets there, and the three of them decide to go on a quest to find said missing husband, and proceed to set out the next day in what can only be described as a place even creepier than Collinwood. And then we move forward into this advertisement for patches, because of course this is what we did back in the 70s. If you had mundane, dull clothing, you'd send away for these patches for less than $1. And they'd send you these really cool patches, and you would take your dull clothing and put really cheap patches all over it to make it look cooler. 70s were an odd time. And then moving forward, stagecoach driver says, yeah, I'm not taking you the whole way. And they're like, huh? And he goes, oh yeah, that village is cursed, I'm not going anywhere near it. You'd think they would have had some of that conversation before they left to go on the journey with the stagecoach driver, but anyway, live and learn. So they foot it to this H.P. Lovecraftian-esque village, run by a guy who, again, looks like something right out of H.P. Lovecraft, and he's the innkeeper, and he agrees to rent them a room because he has a number of vacancies, because for some strange reason, they don't get a lot of tourists in this area. And they decide that they'll look for the missing husband in the morning, but meanwhile, our creepy innkeeper puts on this really dark Emperor Palpatine-style cloak, making him even creepier, and is run off to some secret meeting. What is this, Dagon all of a sudden? Anyway, and he meets this even creepier-looking guy who looks like a demonically possessed Bob Newhart, and they talk cryptically about the secret meeting. You know, at some point you're going to have to reveal what the secret meeting is. But anyway, moving forward, Barnabas, who, as we all know, is a vampire, and therefore really can't go out on the day, so he's waiting for his buddy here, Quentin, who shows up in another stagecoach. Now, if this guy was going to show up here with the stagecoach anyway, why did they all hitch a ride with him? You could find some adequate excuse as to why he has a coffin in his stagecoach, but anyway, live and learn. But anyway, yes, he has Barnabas's coffin, which he has to hide in during the day, and he's going to find some convenient excuse why he was gone all day. And anyway, we go to another advertisement for selling cheap crap door to door, and then be rewarded with more cheap crap, or these 88 mini posters, because that's a cool thing about posters. You want them as mini as possible. Nobody wants a really big poster. Why would you want that? But anyway, they decide that they're going to hide the coffin, and yep, you guessed it, in a graveyard. And they put it in this sort of mausoleum type thing, and he thinks it'll be nice and safe there until this guy pops out and says, what are you doing in my mausoleum? And Barnabas goes, a plot twist. Meanwhile, Quentin here, he's about to head home when all of a sudden he gets assaulted by this multi-headed dog. Cerebus? No. He had 3 heads. This dog only has 2. Well, perhaps they thought they'd get sued for copyright infringement from 3 Dog Night. Anywho, we skip on to more advertisements. And this actually, they're trying to spin this like it's a good thing. It's a 16-page quote-unquote catalog. It's actually 16 pages of advertisement for cheap crap toys they sold in the 70s. First one is this Baby Alive. And if you were alive at this time, you couldn't get the earworm jingle they had out of your head. Baby Alive, soft and sweet. It's, oh my god. And then it skips forward to this other talking doll, which is even creepier than the Baby Alive. And then you can actually get a greenhouse for your Baby Alive and grow vegetables. They had this whole go green thing starting in the 70s, and everybody wanted to become mini farmers. But moving forward, we then have the Easy Bake Oven, and this one is done as a mystery, where the poor girl is making little cakes with her Easy Bake Oven, and they keep disappearing. And anyway, guess who the Phantom is? Yep, it's Dad. Dad keeps taking the little cakes and eating them all for himself. This is a weird one. It's an electric toothbrush. That in and of itself is not weird, but it's a Snoopy electric toothbrush, and you snap the toothbrush into Snoopy's head and brush your teeth. Weird. We then go on to Fal Albert. I'm not even going to touch that one. Some really, really cool cars. Action racers. Those were cool. I had some of these when I was a kid. And these are actually the coolest ones right here. They actually had parts that would fall off them. So what you would do is you'd snap them together, race them, crash them into each other, and have all the parts go flying off, and simulating a NASCAR crash. Good times, good times. There's a football game where you had... I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember those view reels, where it wasn't like a live action, short like you'd find on YouTube and stuff. It was a series of cells, and you'd put them through this little light machine, and it would project the image. And apparently this football game actually had that, so you can actually watch the action you were recreating over the course of your game. Sounds fun. Here we see a little model airport. That could be cool. This, I remember, these were little models, and what they would do is they were for junior sculptors, and it was a block of crud, and on the inside there'd be like a solid depiction of either Fred, in this case Fred, or one of the characters from the Flintstones. And what you would do is you would take a little hammer and you would chip away the lighter material, will flake off, and you'd be left with this little statue, and you'd feel like a sculptor. And I remember I didn't have one, so I took a block of ivory soap and chipped away at it all day with a butter knife. And my mother came to find out little shards of soap everywhere, and had to explain to me that that's not how you do it. I was so disappointed because I really wanted to make a dinosaur. And, oh well, life goes on. Oh, and here, these novelty items, which never work, x-ray glasses and that type of thing. We found at the end that there's a toy sweepstakes, and if you enter, you could win some of the cheap crap you'd only just seen. It's 16 pages of advertisements, but now back to the action. And that dog attack, the dog just kind of goes vroom and runs right by him. And he shows up in the house, and he finds the other two people there, the professor and the lady looking for her husband, and chats with them. I just had this weird experience. The dog attacked me and then ran right by me, and the professor goes, dog, huh? More about that later, I'm guessing. They then go on to wonder, where the heck is Barnabas? But before they can, we have another advertisement. This is for some cheap Disney stuff. Disney World had, just got operational at this point, so Disney was plugging everything everywhere. And, oh, look, some zombie types, or Dibbicks at least, show up and grab our heroes and drag them to the town hall. And they go, oh, wait, Barnabas will save us. And, well, not quite. They got Barnabas too. Of course, they don't know he's a vampire. And that's his big reveal. You can't kill me. I'm one of your kind. And they go, okay, well, prove it. Drain your friends. And while he's trying to tap dance his way out of this, the professor goes, oh, yes, that dog. I know an incantation. And he mumbles some runga, gort clow tuberata nicto, causing the dog to go bazonkers. And he kills all the vampires in the village in a wild dog bloodlust. Moving on to more advertisements, more of those little novelty magic tricks, which again never worked. But by the time you realize that, they had their money and were gone. Oh, and guess what? Remember that missing husband? Yep, you guessed it. He was one of the vampires, or became a vampire, I should say, and tries to turn his wife into a vampire as well. But he is thwarted when he gets a stake through the heart when a beam from the burning building crashes on him, killing him. And the folks all kind of get together and have their Matlock moment where they say, "Oh, that was a really good bluff, saying you were a vampire to buy us time, Barnabas." And he goes, "Yes, bluff. Yes, I was bluffing, wasn't I? Bluff." And they all kind of go on with their lives. This, of course, is at the time, I guess, where Barnabas was a good guy. People change. And then, oh, and remember those little soldier things that they always had in the back of this? This one's a cool one. I'll see if I can get a in shot. You know how we've had Revolutionary soldiers and World War II soldiers. This time, it's actually Roman soldiers. Man, that would have been cool. But again, I'm sure the offer is long, no longer valid. And then we end here with way to get cheap bikes. But anyway, that's all I have for you today. I want to thank Mr. Dan once again for this Dark Shadows comic, which provided wonderful material for my Wretched recap. If you guys want to see more of these, please let me know in the comment below. But that's all I have for you today. So until next time, be good, be safe, be careful, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all again very, 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 very soon.